Macron spoke on a live television last night for about 3 hours. We were expecting him mostly on domestic issues, but he made headlines on the international issue, especially what he was saying about the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, that could be interpreted as a change of tone, perhaps toughening his stance on the Israeli Prime Minister. We know that Emmanuel Macron has been pushing for the creation of a Palestinian state, of a double state solution with Israel and Palestine. We know that Emmanuel Macron actually recently, at the beginning of April, went to the border between Egypt and Gaza and said what he saw there was very brutal. So last night, again, he repeated what Israel is doing in Gaza is unacceptable, blocking this humanitarian aid and access to water for the Gaza people. He actually also is trying to push for some kind of normalization between Saudi and Israel, which is kind of interesting given what's happening at the moment with Donald Trump's visit to Saudi. Donald Trump, who actually said yesterday it was kind of his dream to see Saudi join the Abraham Accords with Israel. So clearly Emmanuel Macron is trying to get some kind of shift to European tone towards Benjamin Netanyahu. This comes also after the Netherlands already said that perhaps we need some kind of collective reassessment of the European policy towards Israel.
Caroline, walk us through some of the other highlights outside of some of the geopolitics that Macron was talking about.
So what he was expected to announce was some kind of referendum. We know that Emmanuel Macron said in his New Year's Eve address that the French will vote on something at some point this year, and he repeatedly denied that he's going to call again new snap parliamentary elections. However, he is willing to call the French to vote on a referendum on a number of issues, perhaps assisted suicide, perhaps access of children to screens, of perhaps even reforming the voting system to make a bit of proportional system rather than the two-run system for parliament. What he excluded last night was a referendum on the retirement reform. He doesn't want to move the retirement age that he spent months to raise to 64 years old a couple of years ago amid months of protest. And also he doesn't want a referendum on immigration, which is something that the far right has been demanding. So we could see a multiple question referendum in the fall, and in fact a majority of the French is in favor of that. We could also possibly see a referendum on debt and deficits, which is what the Prime Minister François Bayrou has been suggesting. The risk, of course, is to make this a plebiscite for or against Emmanuel Macron.